What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have some Matthew Stafford updates, some Matthew Stafford rumors with the trade market, because right now there's a lot of rumors and there's a lot to talk about, and I'm assuming it won't stop. So I'm assuming by the time I upload this video, there will be more rumors. But things seem to be heating up, so let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to our video. Glad you guys are here, and we're back to talk about some Matthew Stafford. And man, this video is going to be kind of crazy because there's a lot of things, and I'm sure I'll get news even while I'm recording. So I'll keep an eye over there just to make sure I don't get any updates, but I'm sure there will be. Either way, the Matthew Stafford rumors are really starting to pick up right now. So we're going to kind of go back to the beginning of today and kind of work our way through how the day has went and the different news that we have gotten from different sources. So this first one comes from Vincent Frank. I think it's Vincent Frank, and it has a little check mark next to his name. It was also on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know how legit this is, but whether it's legit or not, we don't know. But this is the first rumor that I personally saw today, and it stated that the 49ers offered the Lions 2 seconds and 2/3 for Matthew Stafford. Boom, there's the offer that San Francisco has given. Now, that doesn't mean it was their last offer. That doesn't mean that could be their first offer. That could be the first talks. This may not even be real. This could be something that the Lions put out there just to raise the asking price of other teams and what they could give. Who knows? We have no idea if this is legit or not. But first hear this, I'm like, oh gosh, that's not good. We only have one pick this year because they don't have a third-round pick this year. But I forgot, because they hired Robert Saleh, they get the extra third-round pick, which is a comp pick. We'll see. That'll be announced at the end of February. I'm pretty sure where that pick will fall. But I do believe it's going to be at the end of the third round. So looking into this based on the value, because, you know, I used the value chart just to see what it would look like, because it's kind of hard to judge whether or not, you know, hey, this is good, because I don't know what kind of offers the Lions are getting. The issue right now is the Lions don't have great leverage because Matthew Stafford has to be traded. But then again, quarterbacks always have value, man. They always have value. So, yeah. What is the offer is going to look like for the Detroit Lions? So I wanted to look at this offer first because it was the first rumor we got. I don't know if it's real or not. I have no idea. But let's say, for example, the San Francisco 49ers actually offer 2 seconds and 2/3. What would that mean for the Detroit Lions? Well, here's the value chart to go through this. So starting off with the second round pick, which would be the 43rd pick in the NFL draft, which would mean the Lions would have the 41st and the 43rd pick in the second round. The 43rd pick in the NFL draft is worth 470 points for a draft pick value. Then you have the third round pick this year, which we don't know what it's going to be because it's a comp pick. It's expected to be at the end of the third, which would be about 120 points of value. Then you move on to next year, because I'm assuming it's this year's and next year's. Next year's, because apparently they don't want to give up 12. Next year's second and third. The second round pick would be most likely worse. I mean, if it stays the same, we could use, for example, that it stays the same, but it's likely going to be a worse pick because the 49ers should be better. They should be better than they were this year. So likely it's going to be a worse pick. But even if the pick stays exactly the same and you double it, so let's say they got back-to-back second-round picks that stay exactly the same. The value is 470 each. You add those together. And then next year, third-round pick, we don't know where that's going to fall either. It could be the same. It could be worse again. Maybe it's in the middle of the third round or something like that. That value would be about the same value as the San Francisco 49ers 12th pick in this year's draft. Okay, they would not be the exact same, but they'd be pretty similar to the 12th pick that they have this year. Just the 12th pick alone, as 2 second rounds and 2 third rounds over the next 2 years, assuming they're over the next 2 years. So the value isn't incredible there when you hear that. When you go by the value chart, it's not incredible value. But again, the concern would be is that, okay, what if they're a really good team next year, which is kind of expected. They expect to be, that's why they would make the trade. Let's say they're a playoff team, or heck, what if they're what if they're a Super Bowl team? All right, now you see that value drop off like crazy because, yeah, this year's second stays the same. You got a late third this year likely, and next year's second and third are going to drop off like crazy. The value is going to be super low. So now you're talking even less value. I mean, you could get to the point where if they were like a Super Bowl team, where you're looking at the value being equivalent to a 17th pick in the draft this season, the 17th pick in the draft. All those picks could be equivalent to that based on how well San Francisco does next year. So that value isn't very good from the 49ers. So I hear that, not exactly what I wanted. I obviously wanted more. And if I'm the Detroit Lions, I would push for, hey, at least give us next year's first round pick. I believe they have a first round pick next year. Give us that, because you guys should be a better team, which means that if we can get next year's first, it won't be that great for you either. It'll be almost a second round pick anyway. That's what I would be pushing for. But again, I don't know if this rumor is legit. Personally, here's my thoughts on it. I don't know what the value is for Matthew Stafford right now. Everybody I'm hearing is that the value is going up and it's higher than that. No one's going to know what Matthew Stafford's value is because until the trade happens. We don't know what the trade we're going to get in return until it actually happens. But because of not having leverage, what if it was that low? Well, Honestly, that wouldn't be the best return. The good thing would be that Brad Holmes hasn't had a first-round pick over the last 4 years with the Rams, and they continue to be a playoff team usually year in and year out. They've also made a Super Bowl. So the good thing is that's kind of where he makes his money anyways, and that's kind of why we like him because he's able to hit on those mid-round picks. So yeah, you'd have mid-round picks to work with. You could also package them if you wanted to move around the draft, and it would give you 7 picks this year, which right now you only have 5. So that's great. It's just not incredible value. So obviously I'd want more, but hey, you got to take the best that's out there, I guess. However, the news since then has kind of picked up a little bit. And when I first saw that, I'm like, dang, that kind of stinks. But, I guess if that's where the value's at, that's where the value's at. But it seems like that may not be where it's at. Daniel Jeremiah was on the Pat McAfee show today, and he was asked about the Matthew Stafford situation. And he says, look, the first thing I heard with the Colts, and my expectations is still that he will land with the Indianapolis Colts. Here's my thought on that offer. Whether that's a legit offer or not, whether that actually happened or not, whether or not the Lions put that out just to make other teams, have to give more up, whatever it may be, even if that's a real offer, I believe that will not be the final offer. Something's going to be different from that. Whether it's more or less, something's going to be different from that San Francisco offer. I don't see that being the final trade. I'd be shocked if it was. However, Daniel Jeremiah talks about it, saying that he still believes that the Indianapolis Colts will land Matthew Stafford. And personally, if I was a betting man with this, I would bet on Stafford going to the Colts. And I'm not always right with my bets, so that's why I'm not a betting man. But I would bet that he goes to the Colts. The reason why? Well, if you listen to the front office of the Colts, they kind of just stated the quarterback that they wanted, and they made it pretty clear that Matthew Stafford would have been one of those type of guys. I mean, they made it clear they want a veteran quarterback. They believe they have the core pieces to go make a Super Bowl push. So fitting into that spectrum would be a guy like Matthew Stafford. I mean, that would be the kind of guy that would fit in perfectly. Is it true that Matthew Stafford wants to go to the Colts over anybody else? I think it'll happen because I think the Colts they'll find a way to make it happen. Now, they hold the 21st pick in this draft, so I would think they would have to probably give up that and maybe kind of high pick next year or maybe something else this year. I don't know, but they definitely have more value than what the 49ers, I would think, are giving up. But I think the Colts will land him. I would predict the Colts land him because of the fact that, well, we've been told Matthew Stafford wants to go there. Again, another rumor. But the Colts have kind of straight up told us what kind of quarterback they're looking for, and it fits the mold of Stafford. It doesn't fit the mold of Jacob Eason. It doesn't fit the mold of Jacoby Brissett. It fits the mold of Matthew Stafford. And to me, here's how I look at it personally, if I was a team. If I have an opportunity, if I believe I can be a Super Bowl team with a quarterback, and that means I have to give up a first-round pick, I am 110% doing that. If I was an outside team, not even Stafford, but let's say there's enough different guy not named Stafford and Lions are in the same boat that Indianapolis is in, or, the 49ers are in, I would 100% be willing to give up a first-round pick. Because it's not like what Watson, where we hear, you have to give up 3 or 4 first-round picks. You're giving up 1, potentially 2 at the max, which probably won't happen. And you're taking on a 2-year contract that's not as expensive. You're not locked into this monster deal like Deshaun. To me, that's the best trade that you could possibly make for trying to win right now. I mean, that's not as much of a future move as it is, let's go win right now. And I feel like those are the teams that are interested, or teams that want to go win right now. Those are the teams that are interested in Matthew. And plus, the guy's only going to be 33. In quarterback age, that's not crazy old if you protect him, if you take care of him, you can run the ball. Because look at the NFC side of the playoffs this year. They're all older quarterbacks. But look at Tom Brady. He's not even playing that well in their Super Bowl. And he's 43? All right? You could play for a very long time at the quarterback position. And if you wanted to extend him, if he plays well, extend him. If he doesn't and you don't want to keep him, after the 2 years, you can let him walk because his contract will be up. So for me, I would be 100% willing to give him first. If the Lions were in the same boat with San Francisco and or Indianapolis, I would want them to give up the first to make it happen because I want to make that Super Bowl push because, you know what, the future is great, but your chance to go to Super Bowl aren't always there. And when you have an opportunity, if you believe you legitimately have an opportunity to do it by making a move like this, you do it. To me, you do it 100%. I mean, think about San Francisco 49ers situation, right? They had the 12th pick in the draft. Yeah, that's great. First off, if you draft a quarterback, odds are you're going to miss no matter who you take. At 12, you're probably going to hit on a good player, maybe a good player for the future. But the value of quarterback, to me, even for just 2 years, outweighs the value of what a corner could be who they may take at 12 or something like that. It's not even close. The value completely outweighs to me. And again, you're not mortgaging your future. You're talking a 2-year deal with a pick from just this year or maybe next year. It's not like a huge future thing that you're risking with this. You're not risking your future with this. You're trying to win right now. Not even just trying to make a case. That's just what I would want the Lions to do if we were in that same situation. I would absolutely do it without a question. So I don't think that's going to be the final deal. So that's what we hear. Now, also going back to what Vincent Frank said, he also stated that Brad Holmes has been talking through the night with the Niners. He wants to get this deal done soon. And I 100% believe. I believe he wants to get this done soon. And Albert Breer also talked on it, but I think he was 100% right. them wanting to get this deal done to me makes sense. And just like in the clip, because the Lions right now with Deshaun Watson, who the Texans are still trying to keep, so he's not really that much available, and Aaron Rodgers, who seems like, he could be available, but not really right now. Sam Darnold, not really right now. With that, the sooner you get this done, the better results I think you'll get in a trade, because right now, really, there's only one option out there if you're looking for a quarterback to help you win now, and it's Stafford. There's not other options out there right now. I mean, other things are being talked about, but this is your best bet. And free agency is not that good. So your odds are either you get Stafford or that's it. So if you get the faster you can get this done, the more pressure lines can put on and say, hey, we want this done now. We want it done now. We want it done now. Now we're going to start leaking these rumors. The faster, the more I think you're going to get in return ultimately. I think the Lions want to get this deal done quick. Plus, obviously, you want to start focusing on the Senior Bowl. You want to focus on the draft and what you're going to do with the future. But I believe that, they're going to try to get this thing done quickly. But I just know that I think I think Stafford will end up with the Colts, and I think we will get a first-round pick in return. Howard Breer also said in his video that that's what he believes.
Just can tell you this, Dan. The trade market for Matthew Stafford over the last week, and this is in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, I think talks have really escalated on Matthew Stafford. And I think it'd be smart of the Lions to do this now, right? Because before we know whether or not Deshaun Watson is going to be available, before we know whether or not Sam Darnold is going to be available, before we know whether or not the Rams are going to move off of Jared Goff, the Niners are going to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo, the Raiders are going to move off of Derek Carr. Before we have any certainty on any of that, the Lions can get in front of it and say, here's a quarterback that you can have right now, and you don't need to worry about where the rest of the market goes. And so, if you're talking about supply and demand, this could be an offseason where supply outweighs demand at quarterback. And so the Lions, I think, are trying to get out in front of that. They talked to different teams this week, and there are some teams, look, there are a few teams where we know they're going to be aggressive at quarterback this offseason, right? New England, Indianapolis, Carolina, Washington, all of those teams. I think I can't tell you which one he's going to go to, but I think the Lions are of a mind to try and get this done over the next week or so, if they can, the same way the Chiefs got Alex Smith done really early in the offseason when they were offloading him to make way for Patrick Mahomes, because they feel like if we do it now, we'll get ahead of the supply demand curve and we'll be able to maybe get a first-round pick plus something else. Now,
I also get this rumor from Fowler. It's more of a report that states that Matthew Stafford thinks that the Rams are a viable option. And look, I'm all in for, being fair to Stafford, being right to him. I think we definitely should. And the Rams, sounds great. Hey, Rams, Stafford, that'd be tough. I don't know how this is possible. I really would have no idea how this trade would get done. I get the connections of Brad Holmes with the Rams, but how would this happen? I mean, think about it. First off, for the Rams side of things, you can't really do it. You have Jared Goff, who you just signed to a 4-year, $134 million deal. What are you going to do with that? You got to find a way to move Jared Goff. Then, what are you going to give us? You have 4 picks, 88, 183, and 215. That's the only picks you have this year. So you're talking a boatload of future picks, and that's about it. But now you got to figure out what to do with Jared Goff. Oh, just give the Lions Jared Goff. Wait. So Lions are going to take on $19 million in dead cap for Stafford this year, and Jared Goff's monster contract. You got a clean slate. Use that clean slate. I don't think Goff is a bad player, but I don't understand. I don't know how this would happen. I'm sure Stafford would love to go to the Rams, but I just don't think it would happen. I don't think it can. You see even Chris Burt coming out with this report saying that he doesn't see the Rams thing happening, but if it could happen, maybe a starting point could be the 2-3 this year because they don't have a first round again, and next year's first. Obviously, those picks won't be great. It'd be probably similar to the San Francisco situation and what the value is. But to me, you know what I see here? I see another smokescreen. I see the Lions continuing to put pressure on it. Brad Holmes is, just left the Rams. So I think that puts even more pressure because it seems like it could be legit. Like, oh, they work together. I think this is, the Lions pushing out rumors. Maybe there is some legitimacy to it. I don't think it's could be, but maybe. I mean, man, if there's actually legitimacy that the Rams maybe are going to try to make this happen, that would be crazy. But the thought is Matthew Stafford's interested. So I think this is another type of smokescreen where the Lions are continuing to just try to put the pressure on. Oh, now the Rams are involved. Oh, the Rams want in, right? Like, oh, the Rams want to make this happen. You got these other teams like, oh, dang, the Rams. Like, think about it. The San Francisco 49ers, and they're like, hold up, we thought we were getting him. Now he's going to go to a different team in the West? Like, oh, no, we don't want that. We already got to deal with Russell Wilson. I don't want to go to Kyler Murray. Now you're going to get Matthew Stafford in the division. So maybe that puts more pressure. Like, hey, move that deal up. Move it up because now the Rams are interested. I think the Lions are putting a lot of pressure here with these rumors or smoke screens. But this one could be real. I mean, if it's real, I'm wrong. I don't think it's legit, but dang, does that tell you Matthew Stafford's worth if a team is willing to try to just give the extension to Goff, now try to move him away, give up a lot of their picks because they don't have a lot to try to get Matthew Stafford in there for 2 years. Like, that's insane. That's nuts. That brings the situation. Could the Lions actually look to bring in Goff? I mean, look, Brad Holmes, I feel like they're not going to, but you may know how difficult it is to find a quarterback. And if he really likes Goff, I don't think it's happening, but you never know. Now, it would definitely be tough for free agency this year because you have the Stafford dead cap and the Goff contract, so that'd be tough. You would have him locked up for the future, for the far future, like 3 or 4, I think like 4 years, right? 3 to 4 years. So you wouldn't have to worry about quarterback too much. Free agency would be difficult this year. But if you could get Goff in picks, maybe Holmes is interested in that. Personally, that's not the route I would look to go. But, I mean, Goff plus picks, you think you have your quarterback for the future. He's young, and you're like, okay, here's our starting point. I feel like for a guy that has just gotten into his contract, that somebody's going to be locked up to, the Rams are right now, didn't play that well last season. Clearly, they don't even completely believe in him right now as their quarterback. I mean, if you're going to make this happen, if the Lions would even consider this, I mean, you would have to ask for tons of picks. Just be like, man, you're going to have to give us a boatload of picks, yes, with Goff. Like, this ain't going to be, hey, here's the second-round pick in Goff or Stafford. Like, I don't think the Lions will do that. It'll be like, okay, hey, you want us to take Goff? All right, we're going to have to show me the money with the picks then because, yeah, like, I just would stay away from it. Personally, I would stay away from it. If they get sent Goff elsewhere and they want to take Stafford, whatever. But I would stay away from it if I'm the Detroit Lions in adding Goff. I just think it's kind of a mess. Plus, like that long-term contract with a guy that just really hasn't proven himself recently. I don't love that. If his own team doesn't love him, you gave him an extension, that's not a good sign. Look, finding a quarterback's not easy. And sometimes you just like, hey, we got to do what we got to do. But, man, if the Rams made this trade, oh, my goodness. I can't picture it. I can't. Like, it just doesn't seem to make any sense after they just paid him. But, look, Stafford's an upgrade. And if you're like, hey, you know what? We run the ball well. Our defense is good. But we're not getting to the Super Bowl because he's not playing well enough. And there was like a point in the season, I remember where Goff was struggling. And I think they were talking about benching him or something. And if they're like, you know what, it's worth it. They've done this before. The Rams have done this before. And that's why they don't have first-round picks. They have went out before and like, you know what, we're going for the Super Bowl. And that's when they made the run and they lost this to the Patriots. Remember, 13-3. They've done that before. So I guess if there's a team that could do it, don't be surprised if it's the Rams. That would make something absolutely insane happen. Plus, working with Brad Holmes, you know they got a good connection there. It probably wouldn't be too difficult to work back and forth on it. The Rams are our new Patriots, I guess. It's a lot of rumors to try to drive up the price, and we'll see what that price ends up being. I personally believe Stafford will get a first, whether that's this year or next year, we'll get a first-round pick and possibly something else. Players may be more difficult. I think it's probably going to be strictly just picks, but I just don't see that San Francisco 49ers trade being the move. If that's what the value's at, which I hope it's not because of the leverage, then that's what you got to take then. But I just don't think that's going to be what happens. I don't even know if that's real, and I don't even know if that's what actually happened. The Lions could have said that just to leak it out there, just to make other teams like the Colts like, oh gosh, we got to go get this guy. That's their offer, now we got to offer more than that. I just don't think it happened. The offer is really not that great if you think about it. It sounds cool, mid-round picks, but it's really not that great. When you take into consideration of how bad those mid-round picks are going to be next year, you're like, oh, wow, yeah, those are probably going to be bad picks. Maybe they get worse with Stafford, which likely won't happen. So their picks aren't going to be that great. I don't think that's that great of a deal. To me, that's not a really good deal. But if that's what's out there because of the leverage and that's all you can get, I guess you got to take what you can get. But to me, I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Lions will get more than that. I think he ends up with the Colts. Comment down below, who do you think Matthew Stafford ends up with? Now, the rumors are just absolutely nuts. So comment down below, who do you think Stafford ends up with? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.